Hey everybody, Lindsay here from Wayward Saints with my third episode of Influences and Inspiration. This week I wanted to focus more on heavy classic rock. So I don't think it's any surprise that if you listen to me sing, you know I probably have an affinity for the heavier side of classic rock. So why don't we just kick it off right away with my first song being, you guessed it, AC/DC on the Let There Be Rock album, Whole Lotta Rosie. So let's chat about Whole Lotta Rosie for a second. That tune is kind of the epitome of interesting sleaze. I mean, Bon Scott is kind of, in my opinion, he's the king of sleaze when it comes down to classic rock. But on this particular track, I love how he just sort of chats with you, you know, just kind of has like a chat, you know, he wants to tell you a little story, and there's nothing really heavy about it, and everything's kind of chill. But the guitars are like, they're telling you something's coming. And then he just busts out, you know, to get right into the heavier, you know, chorus. And then it stays up there. It's so fun. You know, it's sneaky. It's a sneaky way of handling your vocals. And I think that's really cool. I think it's such a cool part of that tune. The other thing that I really like about Whole Lotta Rosie is the kind of call and answer back and forth between the guitars and the bass, like, you know, da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, and it's just like back and forth, back and forth. In fact, I have a fun story about that. My worst wipeout ever on stage was covering Whole Lotta Rosie. And our drummer at the time in the Howl was named Rosie, which was kind of funny as well. But anyway, we were at this bar and, you know, playing this cover, and they didn't have a lot of mic cables, or not enough. And so we had to like kind of rig up things and try to hide them under carpets so we didn't trip on them. However, when you put two mic cables together to extend them, they kind of create this sort of barrel in which you can take a serious wipeout. And I was jumping up and down, and I remember my heel landed right on one of those barrels, and my feet went right up from underneath me. And literally my feet went straight up in the air, and my Gretsch guitar thankfully stayed intact with that fall, but I was pretty nervous about it, and I landed on my back. My head actually hit the kick drum, and everybody was really concerned. Thankfully, it was during that part, though, with the call and answer, you know, and so laying on the ground, trying to assess my situation, I was still able to do the answer to the call and just kind of stay there for a few minutes until I could find room. And thankfully, with those breaks, I could find room to get up and just sort of continue doing the song, although I didn't do as much jumping afterwards. But it was kind of exciting to get back and do it. So that's another reason why I really like that song, because it reminds me of like the craziest wipeout I ever had on stage. Great tune. And again, don't get tired of it. Whole Lotta Rosie, killer track. My favorite AC/DC singer. Bon, the man. Next is Deep Purple. Deep Purple, Highway Star. I mean, this was like my education, my early education into sort of heavy classic rock as a young person. Highway Star, Deep Purple in general, just the heaviness of their organs and how they utilize that, how the singer is actually able to just completely command you to pay attention to every syllable to what he's saying, is kind of the secret sauce to Deep Purple, in my opinion. And Highway Star is my favorite track because I think out of all the Deep Purple tracks, in my opinion anyway, it's the one where I am paying attention to every syllable of what he's singing. And when you command that kind of attention, it's hard not to love it. So Deep Purple, Highway Star, number 2. And then lastly, on the heavy classic rock, I would be very remiss to not mention Black Sabbath. So Paranoid album. I wanted to chat about Fairies Wear Boots, mostly because, you know, obviously there's a lot of great tracks on here, You've got Paranoid, you got War Pigs. I mean, the list goes on. But Fairies Wear Boots is really different, and I think that's why I like it so much, because it's not as obvious, and it takes you everywhere. I mean, this was a psychedelic journey, not only lyrically but musically as well. They are going in so many different directions, and then coming back, and then going somewhere completely different. They were never in that place before, and but yet the entire time I'm still tapping my toe, and I think that's really interesting and commendable, to be able to take a risk like that, as a rock band, but also to pull it off and it to be really interesting and really kind of bizarre as well when you listen to the lyrics. So those are my three. Those are my three classic ones, guys. Classic heavy rock and songs in my early days of heavy rock that really inspired me, and that always kind of keep me wanting more from them. Sadly, we don't get much more from them, but yeah, I'll never not have these albums in my collection, and I hope you enjoyed that. And check it out on the Jump and Fly Jams, Lindsay's Jump and Fly Jams on Spotify, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks, everyone, and I hope you're having a great week. Catch you next time.